putting this wonderful conference together. It's been really inspiring. It's so nice to see everyone in person after such a long hiatus. So where do we go from here? What I would like to close this conference with is how you can get involved in politics and actually start walking the walk. A lot of what we've been hearing about seems like it's all for fully grown adults that make decisions behind closed doors. If my experience these past couple months have proven anything, it's that is just not the case. Anyone can get involved if only they choose to put the effort into it. At the beginning of this year, I was approached by the outgoing state committee woman and man to take up leadership in the South Boston Republican Ward Committee. They were moving out of town and wanted to pass the torch to a young, energetic conservative who has strong roots in the neighborhood. For those of you who do not know, a ward committee is the local organization of the party apparatus that one can join. It has the power to vote for other party officials, make endorsements of candidates, and they're the official parts of the state's broader Republican Party. At regular meetings, the committee votes on official party business, like deciding on the direction of the local party platform, electing party leadership and convention delegates who get to go to the Republican convention as representatives of the local party. Ward members will canvass, deliver campaign literature, and serve as year-round campaign volunteers for their political party in every election. Out of big cities, though, there are town committees that consist of Republicans from the whole town, and it's not split up as we are here in South Boston. So what Jeanna and I have been doing in Ward 6, as I serve as the chairman, Jeanna is the treasurer, we live in a city with so few registered Republicans, our main focus at the moment is getting unenrolled people, or those Democrats that have been disillusioned, to register red. In Boston, we make up less than 7% of all registered voters, and in Massachusetts, that number is only a little over 9%, the lowest it's been since 1854 when the party was founded. As I reach out to family, friends, and neighbors, and even total strangers like Jeanna once was, I found great joy in connecting with like-minded people who live in my neighborhood. South Boston, or at least as it used to be until recently, was a working-class Union Jack community where the only people on our ballots are Democrats. While this may be our history, I am finding that more and more people, as one may hope, are fed up with the nonsense that's coming from the left, and are looking for a place to come together with those who hold traditional conservative values. In Massachusetts, we have 3 out of 40 senators, 29 out of 160 House seats, 0 people on the Governor's Council, and 0 Republicans on some of our state's biggest city councils, most notably Boston. These numbers are dire, and this is why it's so crucial that we start reaching out and connecting with those that live right in our area. It may take some convincing, but once you show people who the real Republican Party is, they'll be more sympathetic to the cause and want to join in as well. Letting people know that they themselves can be official members of the party and come together with others in an official committee sounds great, and many are interested almost right away. They just need to know that these things exist. Beyond forming ward committees in our district, since our former state committee men and women moved out of South Boston, Jeanna and I are now in special election, which you can find us on Facebook, to fill these 2 seats. On the state committee, both of us would represent the 1st Suffolk Senate District, where each Senate district in Massachusetts must have a man and a woman to represent it. Our district in particular is the most urban and diverse in the Commonwealth, with many of our ward members being immigrants and people of color. The Republican Party needs so badly for our base to look more like how the 1st Suffolk looks, because that's the future of our country. By getting involved with the ward committees and the bigger state committee, Jeanna and I look forward to increasing the voice of Republicans in a city and state where we are so far in between. Getting involved at the most local level is the most effective way to create a ripple effect, because when you get 10 of your neighbors to join us, they get 10 more, and so on. Now, when you need help, now we need your help here at BC. After Jeanna speaks, and hopefully a time comes, we'll elaborate more on what this can look like for you in particular, and we can get you involved right away. So, Jeanna.
Oh, thank you. Hi, my name is Jeanna and Tim, as Tim has mentioned. It is a spectacular honor and privilege to be here, particularly with such young, wonderful, intelligent Republican minds. It's a value and a virtue that unfortunately I didn't have while I was at Wellesley, as you can imagine, the alma mater of you-know-who. With that being said, going back, so I grew up in a little tiny town called Winthrop, Massachusetts. It's right outside of Boston, so East Boston, Revere, Lynn, and all that. So I grew up with, my mom and my dad, my brothers, but there's my Papa Joe and my grandma. My grandma is a crazy Italian, Christian, strict values to the nines, and will tell you what you're doing wrong in a heartbeat. She has no shame in her game. She will point it out in an instant, and 99.9% of the time she is correct. You're doing something immorally wrong, socially wrong, or just family. You just not treating your family properly. So, and then Papa Joe, he's really the political Republican head figure. And of course, like the good little teenager I was, I challenged his every view. We would get into arguments because we had dinner with them quite often. And Papa would be talking, I think George Bush was in office at this time, and then Clinton came in and, you know, I want to be this little social justice warrior, and what about the people? I had no concept because I lived in this very ideal situation. So then, you know, and I feel like that is very important, and I'll continue a second, but that's very important. Challenge, ask questions, seek truth. Don't seek opinion, seek truth. And truth comes from scoping multiple resources, whether it's, you know, I always say people, literature, and history. And then you'll find your truth, because you can compare the history to today and someone's opinion versus your opinion, and so on and so forth. So with that being said, I always had that challenge and that foot in the sand type of a personality, like I'll prove you wrong. And half the time, of course, as we know, when we're younger, we're wrong. We don't have the wisdom yet. So then we go off to college and we meet all these fascinating people and fascinating professors. I mean, back in my day, it wasn't the political climate that it is now, so I can't even imagine what you all are going through right now with the political climate on college campuses. But be sure to stay strong in your values, in your beliefs, always seeking truth. So with that being said, the where do we go from here? You already have so many amazing friends just in this room. And I'm sure that there are 100 other people here on campus, just in your life in general, that have and hold the same values that you do, but they're just too fearful to speak up. And you really, if anything that comes out of today and being with each other is that encouragement to speak up, to reach out to people, to have healthy debates, and again, just coming together in a common way, even if we have different viewpoints, because you never know whose mind you're going to change and or whose eyes you're going to open. And together we're obviously stronger. And I love this quote from Victor David Hanson. He's always on Tucker. God, country, community. So we already have our God and who we believe in, and that's, you know, your personal, this between you and your heart. And then we have country. Obviously, the country is huge. Right now it's being run by a bunch of folks that were once in a room like this and just thought that they had all these great ideas, and or they were influenced by folks that we now know have the wrong ideas. I think that there was a lot of emphasis on the fame and the glory of being a politician. It was almost like being a celebrity in that ring. So unfortunately, a lot of impressionable minds who didn't have the strong value system and a lot of authority. I don't like using that word, but authority where there's mom, dad, the Papa Joes and the grandmas leading your guidance and really instilling those fundamental values that you will carry on. You'll grow and develop and they'll become stronger. Who just unfortunately were impressed to different things because, as we all know, we all seek to be a unit. We all look for our community and our friends. And sometimes it's easier to fall into the wrong friends and perspective, particularly when you don't have that value system. So because of the basis of the Republican Party, because of the way that we have our outview and viewpoint in the America First mind perspective, that is very important to keep and carry on. And the way that you can carry on is please get involved in your local wards. That is the bottom, like the grassroots level, that's the lowest level that you can get involved with, but it means so much because you're really reaching out to folks that normally you wouldn't reach out to. I met this wonderful, fine gentleman. So, quick story on that. I had been wanting to get involved in politics. My lovely fiance over there and I, we have a lot of chit chats, and kept saying, you know, I really want to get involved, something's going to be done, but who am I? I'm just little Gianna from Winthrop, living in South, I'm no one special. And I prayed on it, and lo and behold, Timothy Smith, out of the blue, one evening, phoned me, and I literally jumped out of my skin, because it was, there's no way, there's no real coincidences, there's miracles that happen. God answers our prayers when we really seek and meditate, as we all kind of know. So that's how I got involved. But don't wait for a Timothy Smith to phone you, because I wish I did it many, many years ago. I'm kind of starting my political career later in life, and I really, now that I know what's involved and how much work is involved and how important it is, we are at a critical, pivotal moment in our country's history. If we can't ignore what is going on right now, we all have to get involved and use our voices. I mean, I'm honestly scared for the next generation. I truly am. I've never, you know, we've always had these little political catastrophes here and there, but and they seemed like a big deal, but this feels enormous, and I don't think I'm the only one that really feels like our country is being just torn apart in every direction. I mean, violence is now okay in the name of justice. Like, I'm sorry, violence is never okay in any capacity. Let's sit down, let's work together, let's resolve the problem with policies and people, and what the real need is. What is the need? And again, that comes back to our values, history, and community, just in placing, listening, coming together, and really putting in to place resolutions to these issues. So with that being said, please get involved in your local wars. It's a lot more fun than you would think. And another thing is, I want to thank you for your bravery, for being openly Republican, because I know that there is a certain level of climate, particularly with the doxing and just the what have yous, that make it a very scary time to come out as, I mean, I'm 38 years old, and half the time I'm petrified, but I had to put my big girl panties on and say, you know what, this is me, and I'm kind of funny, and I have good ideas, and because of the conversations with Papa Joe and Grandma and my family and my community and my lovely fiance, and just watching Tucker, listening to Candace, she's I feel like I know her personally. I listen to so much of her content, it's wild. So with that being said, thank you so much for allowing me to come and to speak to you all. Thanks.